we take back the gear and it goes back in our service and we refurbish everything. That has the huge advantage that we do not have to take new raw materials for making new products, but we can just make sure that the product that has been used before looks exactly new. It works exactly the way a new product would work, and we're being responsible for it. So as D&B is taking care of the service during the subscription, the subscriber doesn't have to worry about its functionality. And so there's no disadvantage for him.
Welcome to the final episode of season 2 of the podcast Product as a Service Champions. As a true sound enthusiast, yes, I spend a lot of money in audio gear. I'm a sound freak. I love good sound, but subscription models in this space are quite rare. So today I'm very happy to welcome Alina Bösch, who's leading subscription series or sound as a service at d&b audiotechnik. Welcome, Alina.
Thank you for having me. Hi, Yann.
It's a pleasure. We met at the ISE in Barcelona for the record. I was there at the fair myself, exploring as a service business model, and you were there on the d&b audiotechnik booth. And I was looking for as a service offer in media and sound. There was not that much. In fact, you were the only one on this big fair. So it was nice to see the d&b approach, and I'm looking forward to dive deeper into the model today. First, about yourself, Alina, a quick introduction: who you are and what makes you go into this direction of subscription.
So, yes, we did meet at the ISE, and it was a pleasure to meet you there, actually. I work for D&B now for nearly 3 years, and I'm responsible for the sound as a service topic at D&B. And what makes us, or what makes me at D&B think that this is something we should definitely focus on is, you said you're a sound enthusiast. Sound is what drives us, actually. So, funny story, our CDO, he always says, like, we at D&B, we actually just move air, but this is something we do pretty amazingly. So, that is actually what we are intending with the subscription series. So actually we want to make good and excellent sound accessible to more venues and to more people, and give everybody the opportunity of using and having great sound in their venues. So this is actually what drives D&B. And of course, there's a sustainability aspect to it that is really important from my point of view as well.
Yeah, indeed. We're gonna of course go into those topics more in details. But as a sound freak, it's true, when you have very crispy high tunes and a powerful bass and all that very well defined, and not a soup of noise, but very good sound landscape. It's such a pleasure to have an experience that goes with good sound like this. Yeah, it's for me, it makes a big difference. Yeah.
I mean, the emotions that come across with good sound, it's just different.
Exactly.
Have you ever been to an event that has really bad sound? I don't think you really remember everything. But.
Yeah, indeed. So when people hear about sound as a service, they might assume that it's about music, because of course, if you think about Spotify or Apple Music, those are really the pioneers in terms of subscription. But here it's completely different. And we are talking about the physical equipment, like the speakers, the amplifiers that would deliver this high quality sound. What exactly do you provide in your offer? Do you also provide content, by the way, or is it about focusing on infrastructure itself?
Well, we're actually focusing on the infrastructure. So the content is provided by somebody else, and we're happy to leave that to somebody who's really good at this. So there's so many great artists and DJs and people out there. So this is something we leave up to the market and to everybody else. So what we provide with Sound as a Service, it comes with a whole package. We always say it's peace of mind and confidence that comes with it. So what is included? So it's all the hardware that is necessary for a specific venue. So we still provide a sound system specifically tailored to the venue's needs and everything that comes with it. So the hardware, the amplifiers, there's a remote monitoring computer coming with it. I'm going to get to that later on. So yeah, actually everything we need regarding the hardware, plus their services included. So this means that we're having 6 monthly checks. So biannually, our partner or integrator is going to come to the venue and check on the system. Does it really work like we want it to work? We are remotely monitoring the system on an electronical basis. Yeah, the installation is included. The deinstallation is included. So if the subscriber decides that he does not need the system any longer, we just go there, we take it out, and yeah, we transport it back to d&b so we can refurbish it. All of this is included in the monthly subscription.
Where do I sign? Where do I sign?
Be my guest.
Yeah. And it's indeed, you cover the whole promise and the whole experience for the venue to focus on their core business, which is creating experiences. Because it's so easy to launch and as a service offer, you decided to do it during the pandemic to add a bit of difficulty to to the model. It was, of course, a massive disruption across all industries. What were the market signals or the customer behaviors that made clear to you that you have to go in this direction?
To be frank, I wasn't part of d&b back then, so that was not solely my idea. Can't claim that for myself. Yeah, we've been identifying market trends that they tend in the direction to subscribe to a lot more things, actually, and that people want to own less, but they really want to, have access to things whenever they need it. And this is something we can also see in market developments, I guess. When you just look at the pure numbers, this is something that is evident. So, during the pandemic, it was a rough time for the event industry and the industry we're operating in. So we needed to have something to talk about with our partner network and with our customers. And this was something we found value in, and we also saw in our customers that they also saw value in it too. So we decided to develop this further and go that way.
Mm-hmm. Turning a crisis moment into an opportunity. Yeah. The system is mainly for venues, as you describe it, and of course there are so many different venues. How do you target specific segments? What is the type of venue that benefit the most of this approach, and why are they choosing subscription over purchasing? We all know into subscription that segmentation is very important. It's not for every customer. So what is your segmentation approach? How do you choose the best customers for this model?
So first of all, it is important to mention that we only offer subscriptions for the install business. So we're not offering this for touring gear or anything. So subscriptions can only be made as an installation project. So we're targeting hospitality with this a lot. So bars, restaurants, clubs a lot. We target the education sector where financial investment capital is not always present. We also target themed entertainment, performing arts. Sometimes it's live entertainment venues. So it's basically every single venue that has install projects in it, and that might be interesting. Also, we also got a lot of corporations that are talking to us regarding their halls where they have the speeches and speakers in. So there's literally no limits, but usually the most important segment we're talking to is literally the hospitality sector.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. And one question, of course, that is very important linked to segmentation is the duration of the usage of your solutions. And that's a very common theme in as a service, is that you have a lifespan, a technological lifespan of the equipment that can be over a certain time frame, but the contract and the subscription can be much shorter. So in your case, you have a 3 to 4 years subscription, which is much more shorter than the lifespan of most sound system. How do you play with that?
Well, I guess flexibility is one of the key USPs when you talk about subscriptions in general, because one of the biggest arguments is staying up to date, always having the latest technology in. And as innovations are coming faster and faster, also in our industry, it just gives the subscriber the flexibility after 3 or 4 years. If there's any, new technology in the market, they can just switch over to that or go for a new series that d&b might have launched recently. Yeah, this is something we're targeting. And I know 3 or 4 years, and from a consumer point of view, this might really look long. But if you're have been in touch with some sound systems before. 3 to 4 years is really enough then, and D&B systems run for a lot longer actually. So yeah.
And so that's the point that brings us to circularity, because based on what you just said, imagine you have a user that will return the equipment after 4 years. What happens to those speakers?
That is the most interesting part about a subscription, I guess. So we take back the gear and it goes back in our service and we refurbish everything. That has the huge advantage that we do not have to take new raw materials for making new products, but we can just make sure that the product that has been used before looks exactly new. It works exactly the way a new product would work, and we're being responsible for it. So as D&B is taking care of the service during the subscription, the subscriber doesn't have to worry about its functionality. And so there's no disadvantage for him, even if the equipment is not new per se. So sustainability aspect is huge. You avoid the waste that comes with it. You do not have to take out the resources and don't have to use new raw materials. And so you're actually doing a step towards circularity. And this is something our planet actually needs, because we can't keep living all the way we're doing right now. So this is something that drives us at D&B, and where we want to find solutions for future generations.
We could have a whole podcast on this topic. Of course, that's the core of as a service, is to reduce consumption of raw materials. And I'm very pleased to have this discussion today with you as a manufacturer that has this vision, and not only the vision, but also the execution of it into the as a service offer, and to see that you keep the responsibility of the complete life cycle of the equipment, and even more about the raw materials that are in those equipments, and to make sure that you can, with only one extraction of raw materials, can produce and reproduce as much possible based on that. That's, of course, it's the future. We are all convinced of it. A lot of discussions, very less execution of it. So it's a pleasure to see you acting in this way, and to make it concrete. Yeah.
And at D&B, we do not only have a subscription model, but we also have the model called CPO, Certified Pre-Owned, where we also buy back systems that have been used before, and then going over it, refurbish the system, and then resell it on the second-hand market, also just to focus on the product life extension. And so we're really driven by sustainability and trying to make an impact here.
That's the high purpose behind the as a service offer. Among all the benefits we just listed, that's the core one, I would say.
Yeah. Yes.
The model, as you mentioned, comes also with built-in maintenance services, and you mentioned also remote monitoring. How does this approach impact the experience for the venues compared to traditional model? If they would own versus subscribe with all the services, what will it change for them?
So if our customers just buy a system, it doesn't come with remote monitoring so far. So remote monitoring is something we exclusively offer for our subscriptions for now. This might change in the future, but for now, this is what we do. And it is a service we offer so that we can remotely monitor the system electronically. So we can see if, for example, the cable is not plugged in any longer. We get a message like, hey, the amplifier XYZ has an issue here. So we can directly get in touch with the partner, and or with the venue directly, depending. And then we can tell them, hey, amplifier XYZ has an issue, please check. So this creates peace of mind and confidence. So they don't have to worry about the system not working during the gig, which is maybe the worst case scenario. So this is actually, that is provided with the subscription.
And it comes all together into the monthly fee. It's not a solution that you offer on side of the product. It's all together encompassed into the monthly fee.
Exactly. The services and the hardware, everything is included in the monthly fee, and that is also not going to change. So if there is inflation or tariffs or whatever added on an economical level, the monthly fee just doesn't change for the end customer. Once they sign the contract, it's exactly going to stay as it is, and that is plannable for the venue, of course.
Yeah, indeed. That's important to have this capacity to forecast the rentals. And talking about financial aspect of it, there is also, of course, a financial component in a model. because you are a premium manufacturer and your technology has a price, and you have realized that offering into a subscription might help some users to have access to your technology without having the burden of a complete upfront investment. Can you describe a bit this aspect of the affordability that you've created on your technology thanks to that?
Of course, like for example, if you're having a startup or a restaurant, it's a little bit of storytelling because we've seen that before, or a club. And well, actually, let me tell the story. It is sometimes pretty cheesy. Sometimes sounds a little bit like a Disney story. So there's been that 4 friends in the.
You want some Disney music on the background now?
I can't. You don't want me to. But yeah, it's 4 friends in a city of England, and they were like, okay, we really want to have our own venue with this. And yeah, then there was the pandemic, and then they said, okay, there's an empty space in the center of a city. Let's get that place. And they started a crowdfunding campaign, and they actually really made it, and I can't believe it. But then yeah, they bought the place, and then there was literally no money left for nothing. No staff, no furniture, no sound system, whatever. And so for them, a subscription with d&b made the sound system possible. Because yeah, if you're a startup, for example, you might not have the cash up front to pay for a sound system, or you might not be willing to invest. I mean, that's also the case for big companies who say, okay, I want to save on the capex, so the capital investments, and rather pay on an OPEX level, so an operational expenditure. And yeah, so this is definitely a plus when it comes to financial considerations. So yeah, if you're paying for it out of your monthly revenues, this doesn't only have positive tax implications, of course, but this is also making it easier and accessible. And so we can talk to a lot more venues because yeah, this problem is off the table actually.
Yeah, it's about connecting the cost with the income and to have as much as possible a parallel line between the two, and not having those big upfront investment to be done, which can be stopping some entrepreneurs and initiatives. If we talk about the ecosystem that you have with you to deliver the model, you mentioned that you work closely with a network of partners to sell the solution and also to service it. And we see very often organizations that are moving to as a service, they have this big question, should we continue to offer as a service, including our network of partners, or should we go direct to the end user? How did you make this decision, and how does it work in your case?
So d&b, we never go direct. So the only way we're operating and selling our products is through our partner network, and we heavily rely on this. I mean, for us, it's never really been a question. If we do this, it was only a question how. As our partner network is our biggest assets, and we cannot, we wouldn't be able to provide a local customer with the service we want them to have. Yes, we're a global company, but we're not based everywhere locally. So this was definitely the way to go. And as I said, our partner network is our biggest asset, and we work together very close with our partner network. So this is how we wanted to make sure that everybody in the ecosystem benefits, and we're all tied together and bring the relationships closer together, not only to the venue owner, but also to the partner, and intensify the collaboration.
So it's a choice to offer through the partners and to have them also delivering some of the service that you offer to the end customer.
Exactly. Like the partners actually doing the services for us. It also makes it easier for the venues. So they always have one person they can talk to. And if something might seem strange or anything, they always know who to talk to, and have somebody locally around.
Of course. Yeah. It's very interesting, this model of including the partner, because I strongly believe personally in this model also to continue to create value for the whole existing ecosystem instead of destroying it with a direct approach, which is in fact you change 2 business model. You implement as a service and you go to a direct customer. So that's the highway to failure, as we say. So it's always better to keep the go-to-market as it is. Yeah. Are your partners at ease to sell the model? How did they react when it came to offering it?
every business model in first place means change, and change is nothing human beings like too much.
Yeah.
So yeah, in the beginning, they asked a lot of questions, obviously. And I also totally understand why they did. Once the partners start picking up and seeing value in the system, we see that it just inquiries keep coming in and that things start growing from that point. So sometimes it takes time, make people realize and see value in things. But over the course of time, things change a lot.
Yeah, indeed. And as a service is about time. It's always a question of how long do you have to make it a success, and how long will you be supported by the C-suite and the board members. And I think in your case, you have a complete support from the C-suite, and the vision of the top management is clearly aligned on promoting circularity and sound as a service.
Fully, yes.
That's important.
No, it's just otherwise it just doesn't make sense, I guess. So if you're not supported, it's a very hard way to go.
100%. And I would say because of the time scale it needs also, and the long run it takes. The model today, talking about scaling, so you are active in main Europe lands, in the UK, in the US, and Canada, and you plan to expand to more countries. So how do you see the international scaling happening? How do you choose which market to enter next?
I mean, there comes a lot of legal background work with it. So it is also a legal question of how and where can we offer things. So this is something we mainly focus on when we're deciding where to go. There's a lot of other things like operation-wise that we also have to concentrate and keep in mind. So it's a mixture of all of these factors. So I can't really pinpoint it down to one, actually.
Is this being, of course, in the Northern America? Do you see some differences of adoption of the model compared to Europe?
Yes, definitely. So, I mean, every country, every culture is slightly different, and you have to adapt the conversation you're having everywhere. So it's definitely a learning curve, and we keep learning every day. So yeah, we address people in Central Europe slightly different than in the US. So it's definitely different, but that is what keeps things interesting, I guess.
Yeah, indeed. We see in the different implementation of as a service models that some cultures in general are quicker to adopt a subscription-based model. The Nordics, the Netherlands, Northern America. Do you recognize that?
Yes, actually, for us, it's been England. Most interestingly. Okay. So, of course, the Nordics, I guess, where the sustainability aspect is getting more and more important. I guess you can see a correlation between the importance of sustainability and sustainable business models. So this is something that I could actually agree on. Have you had any experiences with sound as a service or service models in general in Asia? Like, how was that for you? Or how did that work for your customers so far?
Well, Asia is a very interesting market also, and we see some success stories of a subscription-based model. If you look at LG, for example, they have a very interesting subscription, more geared to B2C, that is scaling extremely fast about providing home appliances to households into a subscription. Another example that I've been interviewing on this podcast is KR, about cooling as a service. So they provide air conditioning as a service and charge per cubic meters of cooled air. So there are some success stories also in Asian countries. I think it's worldwide. The adoption is worldwide, but again, according to culture, different speed, I would say.
Yeah.
It's almost time to conclude. Those podcasts, they always run super fast, and there's so much to talk about. But of course, anyone who's listening today can reach you and have a deeper discussion. Before we conclude, there's a question I'd like to ask you that I ask to every guest is, What is the advice you would give to entrepreneurs or to intrapreneurs who want to develop their own product as a service? If you put yourself in your shoes when you started the model and compare to where you are today, what have you learned? What are the key learnings you would like to share with the audience?
Keep going and keep pushing, and it's definitely worth it. It's been an experience, and it's always a ride. It's ups and downs, and always, introducing something new to the market, introducing something new to your company. It's never easy, as we said earlier. It change is nothing people like too much. But it is definitely worth it, and it's been such a ride, and we gained so many insights so far, and the value the market sees. Well, we've proven that it works, and that really makes a crowd. So this is, just never give up.
That's an advice that I hear very often when you're in front of the project and there's a lot of uncertainties, and when you start to have paying customers, and in fact, I should say users instead of customers. When you have your first users, you see the benefit. Definitely, yeah.
Of course, and you not only personally but also professionally, you grow so much, and this is something I would never want to miss. So,
Could you say that you've spent as much time selling internally than externally?
Yes. Yes, for sure. So, I mean, it's not really, well, where's the point if only I know where we want this to be, but everybody else in the company needs to be aligned with us. So it is a lot of, teaching and talking and, removing obstacles, I guess, internally. And then it's about going out there and talk about it a lot more than I, so we can amplify and scale. So,
It's, not to underestimate the internal sales that has to be done when launching an offer like this,
Yeah, I guess that isn't a conversation you've had a million times before, right?
Indeed. Yeah. Great. Well, Alina, it's been a pleasure to discuss sound as a service with you today, and great to see how D&B is making your premium audio solution more accessible and sustainable, and entering into the circular economy thanks to as a service. So for all listeners, if you want to learn more about D&b Audiotechnik's innovative approach and explore sound as a service, of course, there is the website dbaudio.com where you will find all the narrative around the offer. Alina, before we conclude, one famous last word?
Well, maybe to say never compromise on great sound.
That I can agree with. Well, that wraps up this season 2 of the Product as a Service Champions podcast. Thank you for tuning in, for everyone listening, and we will be back soon with more conversations on the future of as a service models. Until next time.